welcome back to 3 Shots In, everybody. I'm Jess.
I am Jake. Joining us once again is Ricky. And in the hot seat, Sam.
Samantha.
She'll be talking today about murder.
Also, magicians.
Well, Sam, whenever you're ready.
Well, hello, everybody. So, as you know, the word is reveal. And I was thinking about magicians, Jessica, and how they reveal secrets and stuff. And so I did some research. I apologize for butchering these names. I felt really confident about them before, but after drinking, not so much. Today, we are talking about Georgy Teremenyovich Martirosyan.
Whoa.
Also known as Gosha the Magician. So I'm just going to call him
better.
Gosha.
That is way easier.
We're going to go with
Way
Gosha because that was his stage name. And that's where we're going with.
Stick with
Okay.
that.
Georgy, or Gosha. Gosha was born in Tbilisi in Europe to an Armenian family in 1970. His family moved to the European part of the Union when he was 2 years old. And after the USSR's collapse, he ventured out to search and explore the various countries of the post-Soviet era. Like you do,
Cool.
you know? He wanted to, look around a bit. Starting off real strong in his early 20s, he was convicted of theft. Yeah.
Also, like you do.
Yeah,
Theft of what?
Yeah, theft. I didn't say. Just a lot of theft, just here and there, out and about. He was convicted of theft in Belarus and served a short prison sentence.
Did you mean Belarus?
It's entirely possible.
Okay.
Is it
I don't
Belarus?
correct often.
Yeah, that's
But
exactly
that might
it.
be one that
Belarus.
I know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Each one of us, I think, have corrected each other on some sort of country or city.
Someone who is not from Belarus got really offended on Belarus's behalf.
Ooh.
Then
They
I
corrected
apologize, Belarus.
Yeah, and then I've also gotten shit on because I don't know what Budapest is. Is it a city? Is it a country? I still don't know.
Okay, so he was convicted of theft in Belarus and served a short prison sentence before moving to Russia. So here we have the Russian flag.
Gorgeous.
Kind of sucks.
Jacob only sees 2 colors on it.
Oh, Jake. So in the late 1990s, he decided to join a gang of robbers.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and they broke into apartments and they were eventually captured and imprisoned.
A whole lot of them?
I guess.
A whole lot
There
of
was
them.
not a whole lot of information. It was
slow
very
ones.
general. I looked up so much research. All of it said the exact same thing. He was released under amnesty in 2000 in honor of the 55th anniversary of Victory Day, which is the celebration of defeating Nazi Germany.
Hey-o.
We just talked about Nazi
Always comes
Germany.
back.
I know.
Yeah.
The following 7 years, he worked in a variety of jobs, including a cook, a chauffeur, a salesman, and a logger. So, he was just dabbling.
What?
He was dabbling in all sorts of careers.
A Renaissance
You
man.
know, yes. Now, this is where things get exciting. Okay. So 2007, he made a profile on the popular Russian dating site.
Oh, he's looking
Russian
for love.
mingles.
Yeah. Mamba.ru is what it's called. But what's exciting about this is that he presented himself as a magician and spiritual healer and a psychic.
In 2007?
Sounds like the Twin Flames guy.
Yeah.
Oh, if you don't know
That
about
guy's
it,
a piece
it's
of
worth
work.
looking into.
Yeah, you should watch it. He presents himself as a magician, a spiritual leader, all of these things, and allegedly, telling people that he's capable of curing ailments and healing bad karma, referring to himself as Gosha the Magician.
The karma healer.
Yeah, and Gosha is apparently another name meaning Georgy. Also, I could not find any information about his mystical education.
I don't know that Russia has a PhD program for
Yeah.
mysticism yet.
These
Maybe-
strange rituals earned him regular clients using a combination of Wicca and, wait for it, Rasputin-influenced mysticism.
There it is.
Rasputin influenced
That big
that
dick
big old
magic.
dong
Oh,
magic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Apparently, he would take girls to an isolated monastery, which
Very
begs the
not
question,
cool
what
anymore.
monastery is allowing random people to come in and perform mysticism?
Was that all it was? Was just like some mystical shit?
He would light candles and sacrifice rams in order to cast spells of good fortune.
So then, yes.
So there was slaughter.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's well into the mysticism
Yeah,
camp.
That's cool. But like he took these girls there alone and then like just mysticized them.
Apparently. So in 2009,
Yeah.
a high-class escort named Rima became his client, and she enjoyed Gosha's services. so much that she told all her friends about him. And his fame spread through word of mouth. And not long after, he amassed enough wealth to afford a 2-story house in a nice neighborhood in Korolyov, where he lived with his common-law wife and young daughter. Could not find any information on that.
So this lady, she had a bunch of karma up in her pipes. She needed them cleaned.
Cleaned out.
And he was just the man for the job.
He was the man. As a rule of thumb, Gosha turned down all men applying for his services and only accepted women ages 18 to 50.
Wow, that's a broad range.
It was just his specialty.
Most of them were young, rich, and gullible, and would even sometimes sleep with him as part of his rituals. You know, it was part of the ritual.
Hey, it's part of the ritual, guys. I don't want to do this, but...
Yeah. Despite his lavish lifestyle, Gosha's greed got the better of him, and he devised a scheme to earn cash quick. So
Cash.
Is that cash in his hand?
Yeah, that's the cash.
So much cash.
Do you like
it's
it?
a whole bag
Do you like
of
the
cash.
whole picture that I found?
I do.
It's a big bag of cash.
This involved befriending a future victim, using his charm to convince them to transfer all of their funds into cash and go with him, where the two would, travel. And Gosha claiming that they would amass numerous riches via his magical powers. So a trip of a lifetime.
It honestly sounds great.
I'm sold.
What?
All I hear in my head is like, oh, my mysticals are so full.
I drain my mysticals.
We need to help each other drain my mysticals.
Stop.
Drain my mysticals, comrade.
Okay, so his first victim he chose was a married businesswoman named Olga. But she caught on to his bluff pretty quick and cut off all contact with him. He needed to change his plan. So instead, he offered to perform the rituals at his clients' homes, right? That seems safe.
And
It's
convenient.
Much safer, convenient. So, that seems like a good idea. His next victim was 23-year-old Natalia Trapeznikovia. A beauty queen and aspiring model. She was taken in by Gosha's claims of spiritual healing, and he managed to convince her to not only cut off contact with her boyfriend, just cut it off.
Yeah, step one.
Nice.
But she was also convinced that one of her friends from her modeling agency had attempted to poison her. So, things were not safe for her. Her health was bad.
Yeah.
She needed help. So, knowing that she fully believed everything he said, Gosha asked her to empty her bank accounts and bring the money to Moscow for a healing session, like you would.
Do you want to be healed or don't you? How
Grab
much
your
is it
money,
worth?
bag
All
it
you
up,
gotta
and
do
bring
is
it to
release these
Moscow.
mysticals.
Put it in this bag
Yeah,
that
yeah.
fits perfectly in my hand.
Exactly. Against her parents' advice, she complied, withdrawing 1.5 million rubles.
Oh, wait.
Oh.
Never mind.
What is that, like $16?
I don't even know. Look it up. Look it up.
How did all three of us go from shock to like, it was just rubles?
Oh, so it was like $17,000, like a medium-sized
No.
80s sedan.
That was probably all her savings.
I mean,
at that
people
point.
have upended their lives giving people,
Yeah, she could've-
$500 on catfish. So this is I'd say a decent chunk of money.
That shit's fucking hilarious.
No, I love that show. Okay, so she took what, 17,000?
No, 1.5 million
1.5
rubles.
million rubles. She takes this, and September 21st, 2011, she arrived in Moscow and sat waiting for him at her apartment. So I guess she found an apartment. I don't know if she was, Airbnb-ing it up or whatever, but
couch surfing.
got an apartment.
Rubles go far.
Actually, I think she did end up staying there for a long time. I think she did end up staying there for a while. So at some point during the night, Gosha arrived and entered the apartment. When he offered for them to have drinks, he went to the kitchen and got a glass of alcohol, which he then laced with a mixture of heroin and methadone.
It's not very. That's not mystical.
Very not mystical.
Oh,
of him.
no.
Yeah. Not long after drinking it, Trapeznikova passed out, and Gosha injected her with a syringe containing more heroin before disposing of it and giving her another clean one in an attempt to simulate an overdose, right? So that was his plan.
I'm sorry. If the plan was to overdose her and kill her, why bother with a clean syringe?
Not sure.
Maybe
Just good
because
practice.
she was a clean woman, so she wouldn't be using dirty needles. She'd be using a clean needle.
He was going for what was
and
most believable.
It would look like it was her first time and she fucked up and overdosed.
That makes sense.
Oh.
Also, this is the first time he's done this, right? Either by miscalculation or by underestimating her strength, she didn't die and simply remained unconscious because, he's new to this. Gosha then took the woman to the bathroom where he drowned her.
Whoa.
Did he just
Decided
put her
to-
head first in the
Wow.
tub or something?
It didn't say specifically.
Way to hit us
it
with the
was
false
in
hope,
the
Sam.
in the bathtub. But he wasn't completely a terrible guy. He then poured food for her dog. He thought about the dog
That's
and
nice.
poured some
That's
food.
nice.
He grabbed the cash that was in the kitchen and some extra jewelry and promptly left.
Dog had
Trapezhnikova's
plenty of food with her
parents became worried and called Gosha, who told them he hadn't seen her in 4 days and he was vacationing in Georgia. So, he hadn't seen her. Alarmed, her parents traveled to Moscow and upon arrival, noticed that the light had been left on in her apartment where she was staying. They contacted the landlady who opened the door and they found her lying dead in the bathtub.
Ew, probably all
They drowned
bloated.
her in the bathtub.
So she appeared to have overdosed, but the scene was highly suspicious. Like they were looking at stuff. They're like, this kind of doesn't make sense. According to her parents, like she didn't do drugs, but this is what it looks like. Because of the lack of evidence, there was no criminal investigation. So Gosha got away clean. Through his contact with models, Gosha came across 21-year-old Maria and 38-year-old Natalia, a mother and a daughter. And after learning about their wealth and their goals to become involved in the fashion industry, and, the mom wanted to become a fitness instructor and a dance show director, Gosha volunteered to carry out a ceremony of fortune for them.
How
And-
generous.
Yeah, so generous. He rented a one-room suite in Moscow and instructed them to come with 5.1 million rubles. So on January 14th, 2012, the two women entered the rented apartment, but they never came out. When their bodies were found nearly a week later, the autopsies determined that their blood contained 20 times more heroin than Trapezhnikovia.
That's a lot of heroin.
Okay.
20 times.
So he wanted to make sure he got it right this time.
So they didn't drown. He didn't have to drown
no
them.
drowning necessary.
No. It had likely killed them quickly and efficiently. While examining the mother and daughter's apartment, investigators noticed something peculiar.
A cigarette.
In the ashtray next to the light cigarettes that Natalia was known to smoke, the mom, they found standard cigarettes with teeth imprints of an unidentified male.
Oh, wait. How'd they know it was a male?
I don't know. They must,
Dentist
Big
magic.
teeth. He had male teeth.
Those teeth were fucking hard.
After investigating their friends and their phone call histories, they were eventually led to Gosha. Coincidentally, Gosha also smoked those types of standard cigarettes,
And had man teeth.
and they were also found in Trapezhnikova's ashtray on February 22nd.
Oh no.
Oh.
So,
That's why you don't smoke, kids.
yeah. So Gosha was arrested and his house searched, with the authorities locating as many as 6.6 kilograms of heroin on the premises.
Drugs.
Now, I don't know
drugs.
kilograms, so I looked it up, and that's
What?
roughly 14.5 pounds.
That's a lot of fucking heroin.
That's so much heroin.
Yeah, heroin,
Jesus.
also known as 14.5 pounds. That's a lot.
No, that's expensive. Those rubles go far.
Yeah.
When you get 5.8 million or whatever. it was.
Yeah.
You know where you gotta go for heroin? Russia.
During the official interrogation, Gosha revealed that he had been in Trapezhnikova's apartment, but claimed that he and the drunk Natalia, because the first two women they're both named Natalia.
So
it's
sober
confusing.
Natalia.
Yeah. Had sniffed cocaine together and then had oral sex before she undressed and went to the shower in the bathroom. And feeling disgusted by the ordeal, he packed his stuff and left.
Like a good
Ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
That's what he did. So at the initial questioning, the police had failed to check the security footage, which clearly showed Gosha leaving the apartment carrying with him some kind of heavy package. So it seems like from the very beginning, no one has done a good job investigating these murders because they missed so much stuff.
Russian police, man.
Yeah. Despite these investigation failures, investigators had enough evidence to charge him with the murders because of the heroin found in his home, as well as some decorations and cards belonging to the mother and daughter that were considered like hard evidence. At his trial, Gosha denied his guilt and often insulted everybody present in the courtroom, including
Did they even know that he was a magician and a karma healer?
I don't know. He also insulted the judge.
That's a good move.
He was
Yeah,
confident.
established dominance
He was
early.
confident. And when interviewed by the press, he claimed that all the deaths were accidental overdoses and that he should be acquitted.
They were whoopsies.
Yeah, he also claimed that he had been tortured by the police, who had
Whoa.
electrocuted him and hadn't allowed him to eat for 2 days.
2 whole days?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and additionally alleged that they had planted the drugs in his home.
I mean, that's not super far-fetched. They
I
are,
was gonna say,
there are a lot
Russian
of dirty
police,
cops out
yeah.
there.
He's in jail.
On April 22nd, 2014, the Moscow City Court found Gosha guilty of all 3 murders, robbery, and drug trafficking, and sentenced him to 23 years imprisonment. In addition,
For triple murder?
yeah, 23.
Premeditated triple murder.
That's really light.
Yeah, and
considering.
Less
he had
than
to
what?
also
So like 8
pay
years of-
23 million rubles in damages to the victims'
Oh,
families.
like $14.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
And, guys, his clearly very impressive defense managed to lower his sentence
What? To
by
what?
1 month.
Oh, by 1 month?
1 month.
That's the judge going, all right, I'll lower
Dude,
his
that
sentence."
means that's how it got to 23 years. Because he was probably sentenced to 24 years,
Yeah.
8 years for each murder.
Oh.
That is insanely low.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
So if you're
really
going to
low.
murder somebody, do it in Russia. is what
Really,
I'm
really
hearing.
Whoa.
He was sent off to a special, I think, now I'm nervous of all the words I'm saying because I got
You got this, Samantha.
it wrong.
Got it.
Fine. If you say it wrong, I will correct you.
Okay, thank you. Special regime colony,
Sure.
where he remains to this very day. I looked up what special regime colonies were because I didn't know what that was. And I guess in special regime penal colonies, the inmates face more restrictions and they are housed in locked cells, usually with 20 to 50 other prisoners. Due to overcrowding in most colonies, that the required standard of 2 square meters of space per inmate, which is like stipulated in Russian law, is usually not met. So it's cramped. This is the actual Gosha.
Oh, wow.
Gosha
Damn.
the Magician.
That's him?
He doesn't
That's
look
him.
like a fucking magician
him.
at all.
Not at all. And I could not find any other pictures of him.
Actually, I
all
could
of
see
them
him
were
pulling-
him in jail, like being arrested.
He looks like the kind of guy that after he makes you overdose on heroin, he's going to go have a veal parmesan.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He
Is
looks
anybody else noticing the fact that those are just cotton ropes?
Oh my God.
Like he could just
that looks
easily
like-
scoot those aside.
Is it a design choice? Are they metal?
I'm not sure.
There's
Are
no
they
way.
just
Is it
rope and
rebar?
you
No,
could just
it
could
rebar?
be. It could be.
do that?
That they painted rebar.
Yeah.
Fuck,
for it.
he is a magician. Like, did it matter? Did it matter what they put him in?
Exactly. He can escape
He
anything.
kind of has the look of the sort of guy who lingered for too long at his high school flirting with the seniors.
Yes.
Yeah.
After he graduated?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was on the football team, but never really played.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
see that.
JV exclusively.
Yep.
Yep. The photo I had found earlier of him with like some fans with some
Fans.
girls. Yeah.
Good timing too.
Battery
Very
low.
good timing.
Battery low.
And it just turned off.
And it's off.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Sam.
Oh.
Thanks for joining
Thank
us.
you for joining us. We'll see you again next time. And the story we will be hearing is Ricky's.
Go to 3shotsin.com. You can check out our sponsors. We got Tilted Tinker, we got Party Patch, Pour More, and you can find the link to our Patreon page, which is awesome. It's only $5 a month. It's less than like one Starbucks run.
And we'll see you again next time.
Bye.
Bye.
All I hear in my head is like, oh, my mysticals are so full.
I need to drain my mysticals.
We need to help each other drain my mysticals.
Stop.
Drain my mysticals, comrade.